Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Music Success Show. I'm Rui, I'm your host, and today I have another special guest. He's from Toronto. He's an electronic music artist. He has developed his unique music style that ranges from dark to club. He has played in many shows and is host a weekly mixing show called Isocuts. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to the show. Ghost is back. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, awesome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Why did you decide to be in music and being in the music industry?
Wow, it's a long story, but try to make it short.
Sure.
I was into metal, actually death metal. I played for many years,
Mhm.
and one day I just got sick of it. I was playing and just like, okay, I'm done with this. And next day I sold my gear. I only kept my guitar just for remembering purposes. And then I just kind of disconnected from music for a little while. And then one day, this friend of mine came with this music and say, "Hey, listen to this." And I was like, "Ooh, it sounds like Transformers making out." And it was Skrillex, right?
Right.
All those raw whoops
Yeah.
type of thing. And then somehow I got hooked. Just like, this is actually different. Because to me, electronic music was more like '90s,
Mhm.
like Barbie girl type of style thing, which I was not into. Still not into up to this day, but he showed me the dark side of electronic music, and then I just got hooked. Like, I love this, and just start listening to it every day.
It's interesting that you went from metal to electronic. Is there a relation there because of the maybe in terms of the intensity of the music and how do you call it? There's a certain you have a certain dynamic range on both of them, right? It's
Yes.
not, it's usually not low, correct?
No, it has to be played loud.
Yes.
I think it has to do with the lack of happiness within the music.
Mhm.
So it is dark, it is energetic, and that's something I kind of lean towards too. I got hooked. Like, wow, I like this because it's not happy. It's not happy music. It's not something that plays on the radio,
Mhm.
not top 40 or anything.
Right, and then you actually got into mastering and production, right? Well, what happened there? Well, how did you
Yes.
get hooked on that?
One day I was really bored at work. I'm an architect by profession.
Mhm.
And basically, I've accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish within the profession, and it's super fast. So I was like, okay, there's nothing more to explore. Everything from now on will be just a repetition of a repetition, and it was really bored. So I decided to. The only hour I had back then was my lunch hour. So I had 1 hour a day to eat lunch. So I was like, what if I eat on my desk and spend that hour trying to learn something? And that's what I did. So I learned many things like finance, history, many subjects, and eventually I stumbled upon music production and mixing and mastering. And I was, oh, that's interesting because I had the background in music, so why not learn about this?
Mhm.
And that's what I did. So every day I was like, okay, I'm going to learn about mixing today, and then all the aspects of mixing, and then all of the aspects of production, and then mastering, and then it just was just snowballing after that, and then every day was the same subject. I was into it more and more, and all of a sudden I was going home and it's okay. I got to start learning more, and then all my free hours I had at home, all of a sudden I was in front of a computer watching tutorials and trying to make music until the day I thought I got it right. Okay, I think I know how to make this, and then I started making music.
Right, and besides that production and mixing, you DJ as well, correct? You
Yes, I do.
you go out and DJ. Can you tell us
Yes,
about that experience for you?
of course. As everything, I did not know how to DJ a while back, and then I had a DJ friend, and he was playing every Saturday. And one day I was like, "Hey, can you teach me how to DJ?" And he said, "Sure." And then I just came with him and just plugged my headphones to his decks and just try to figure out what he was doing, and then he, okay, you do this and you do that, and with no in no time was DJing as well.
Right.
And it was like, okay, this is actually fun. So then we started to have this weekly um, DJing episodes or whatever you call it, sessions,
Battle.
and battle, whatever. So all of a sudden, I was DJing every Saturday night. It was like, wow, that's awesome, right? Out of the blue,
Yeah.
and we start getting people, and the pandemic hit, and then we decided not to stop. So we made an agreement to get vaccinated, and then we just keep on playing. So it went from clubs to underground,
Right.
totally underground, right? Because it was illegal at the time. But people start showing up. It's like 5, sometimes 10, sometimes 20.
Wow.
And we just kept on playing and playing and playing. And we just had a show 2 weeks ago, and it was at capacity. So good times, I guess.
It's awesome. Okay. So, after the pandemic, so you tell us a little bit of your experience during the pandemic, because obviously during the pandemic, I don't know if you know this, but that's a record on sales on instruments, especially guitars. I don't know if you're familiar with that. A lot of
Yes.
people, a lot of people turn into music because, hey, I have all this time on my hand, and it's which was a positive thing, right? Like, how is your post pandemic? I don't know how things are in Canada right now, but how it is your experience now? Are things going back to normal? Are clubs open? Are they open to do live shows? What's going on exactly?
Yeah, they're all open, with some capacity limitations, but pretty much it's everything is back to normal.
Hmm.
They check if you're vaccinated at the door, and that's about it.
Yep.
So there are plenty of shows in town right now. Yeah, lots of them actually.
All right. Okay, cool. And what do you feel has been your biggest challenge so far in music?
I think my biggest challenge at the moment is marketing.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm just starting to work with a marketing for Ghosts is Back, because before I couldn't do any marketing. It was pointless. I would market my music, and there'll be nowhere to play shows. Basically, right now I'm at a point where I can market and I can go play, so people can listen to my music and maybe see on Instagram my ad and check my music out. So it makes sense. So right now that's my challenge. Um, how to get the music out there, and how to find a public, and how to actually get fans and
Hmm.
keep on playing.
Are you paying some kind of platform or somebody to do the marketing for you?
Uh,
Or,
yeah, I'm doing it all myself, but I'm paying Instagram.
okay.
I had to learn how to edit videos, how to shoot videos, photos, web development, everything.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
one main job, right?
Right.
But
So,
yeah,
do you do? Are you doing that for a living as well, or do you just do it for yourself?
right now it's for myself,
For yourself. Okay.
but
Cool.
the goal is to do for a living.
Okay. Cool. And okay. So, in terms of breakthrough moment, do you feel there was a point where you had a breakthrough, either before before the pandemic or after the pandemic? Is there where you felt, okay, as a musician, as an artist, okay, this works for me. This was a step forward in my career, in my goals, in my dreams.
I think it's an everyday thing.
Mhm.
What I think is, if you stop learning, you're dead,
Right.
right? You got to keep on moving. You got to keep on learning new stuff. So every day is a breakthrough. Oh, I learned some new techniques, some new mixing techniques that I can apply to my music and make it better.
Mhm.
Um, and same thing with composition. Same thing with even people. Like, you meet good people, and then you play good shows. Sometimes you meet not good people, and then you say, okay, maybe not. That's not the right way. But to me, there's no this aha moment, because it was based on a decision. I decided to make music. I decided to play shows. So it was more of a decision, and I need to face the consequences now.
Right. Exactly. Take responsibility
Yeah, yeah. Just
for your
own it. Right? You
for
gotta own it.
yeah, for your own brand, right? Now we talk about production, mixing, and a little bit about songwriting. So what is your process? This is one of the things I ask people coming here. Like, how do you go about creating? Because people have different ways to go about it, right? Some people, get the beats, buy the beats or rent the beats. Some other people go on YouTube and get inspired. What is your process, creative?
How to fire inspiration?
Yeah,
It's
and
a
how?
good question.
Yeah, and how do you? Well, finding inspiration and what's your creative process? Meaning, you get in front of the computer and you go like, okay, so this is how I go about creating a song.
Yes. Usually I work at nighttime. I work overnight.
Mhm.
That's when everything is quiet. Usually I get the inspiration of maybe a track that I can hear that can inspire me. So, oh, I like the sound. So I may use that as a reference, or sometimes it just comes out just out of the blue, like a beat in my mind. So
Right.
when I'm on Ableton, I like to start with the beats first.
Mhm.
So I get the rhythm going and then the bass. And then if I like the bass and the beat, then I'll keep on moving.
Right.
That's usually how I get things going.
So
But it varies. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I have the bass in my head, so I gotta start with the bass. There's no set in stone way to
so
compose.
are you like an Ableton person? Like, do you use the push to, or do you record on Logic, or do you prefer Pro Tools? How do you connect all the gadgets together? Let's say.
Yeah, I like Ableton. I used to work with Logic, but my Mac died,
Mhm.
so I was forced to go into Ableton all the time. I try to keep it very minimal. I think most of the things are distraction to me. So I only have a MIDI input, just a little keyboard, and I have my outboard gear. I use a compressor for the end of the chain, and that's about it. That's about it. I don't like many gadgets. I've tried them. I had them at a point, but it was more like, oh, let me try to figure this out instead of, hey, let me compose. So the inspiration go away, and I was still trying to make that sound good. So it's like, okay, distractions out
Right.
the door.
Yeah. Like too many plugins, too many pedals.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. Too many plugins, too many options. You don't know how to do.
Yeah.
It's like,
That
you
consumes a lot of time. I mean, that's my main beef. I mean, I love to have plugins and pedals and this, but it just consumes so much time to go through the software and actually learn. Like,
yeah,
and what I noticed, the people like in the industry that are big, they choose one lane and they get really good at it. And while they can check it out, new products, I mean, they don't just deviate like that because everything is built
yeah,
on their catalog and the things that they've done so far. So they,
yeah. Like every day there's a new plugin,
yeah,
right? Am I a plugin hunter or a composer, right? So I'd rather be composing rather than, oh, check this new thing that's going to make you sound great with the 2 clicks. Yeah, right. So
now
yeah, I try to keep it very minimal, very minimal.
now that's pretty smart. Now, what's your favorite album of all times?
Oh, tough question, man. Um, I like Pantera, to be honest. Yeah.
Is
So
there?
the Great Southern Trendkill or whatever.
Mhm.
I like that album since I was little.
Okay,
Maybe that's why.
probably why. Yeah. Do you read a lot? You're like an avid reader.
Yes, I read a lot.
And,
Not as often as I wanted to lately, but yes, I read a lot.
and as a musician, what books do you get into? Do you get into the like composition or electronic or DJing, or do you get away from that and get into more like fiction, or how do you go about that?
Um, I like technical books, to be honest.
Mhm.
As a musician, I would recommend if you could read anything that tells you how the music industry works,
Mhm.
that's the best bet you can have because if you understand the machine, you would know how to play with it.
Right, and make a
So,
living, right?
yeah, I make a live out of it. It is tough. Don't get me wrong, and I think there's a huge. It has to have a combination, in my opinion, from a luck and good work and right timing. And if you could combine those, well, if all of those aspects could happen at the same time, I think you could have a good chance. Otherwise, maybe not.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, what's your music business model? Like, how do you go about putting your music out or DJing? Do you have a certain procedure? Do you? I know it's a vast question, but let's say, do you have like do you use a platform to distribute your music? Do you have ASCAP or BMI in place, or how do you go about that?
I use DistroKid. Right now, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I know they keep a lot of real money, some tax loophole or whatever. But right now, the money I'm making on Spotify is just by me using DistroKid.
Yeah.
If I start earning much more, then I'll certainly not use DistroKid anymore. I just use another distributor that charge me once and that's it. But as I said before, I'm at a point where I'm just starting to promote many of my new tracks,
Mhm.
so that flow of plays haven't happened yet.
Right. Are you like on Spotify, iTunes, or you haven't got into?
Yes,
Okay.
everywhere, I guess, everywhere.
So by using DistroKid, correct? Like this
Yes,
basically distributes to all platforms, and you oversee what they're doing, and you want you want to collect all the money as possible.
yes.
Okay, cool. Now, in terms of like any advice that you ever received in this industry, did you any did, did you ever get any good advice? I mean, what have you learned from it, basically?
yes. I think the best one, it was, don't try to sound like anyone else.
Mhm.
Just do your own thing.
Yeah,
Um, right now here in Toronto, there's a lot of techno going, so there's a lot of techno artists, lots of them. So I don't want to be a drop in the ocean, right? You want to stand out. So the only way you can stand out, in my opinion, is you make your own music. You sound unique, and if people like it, they'll like it. If they don't, they won't,
hmm,
right? But if you're playing the same thing that everyone is playing, it's just, what's the point?
yeah, exactly.
I don't see a point, honestly. I really don't see a point copying other artists.
Yeah, sounding like other people instead of you.
Yes, I don't see a point. Like, if I just don't see a point, man.
Yeah.
I
Now,
think it's more fun. You do your own thing, and if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, you did your own thing. You had fun doing your own stuff.
yeah, it's unique at least, right?
It's unique, yeah, right?
Exactly. And now, do you see a difference between when you started in the music industry and now? And what are your thoughts about the music industry?
Oh yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah,
But you want to mean like, me as a musician or the industry itself?
yeah. Like, what's your opinion, right, about the industry itself?
I think the industry is hard, and it's wired in a way where the artist is supposed to be screwed up in a certain way
Mhm.
somehow. So basically, unless you're really good and have leverage, they're gonna screw you up for sure somehow. Either making a lot of money on you, or like a 360 deal. It sounds amazing, but in reality, you start out with a debt,
Yeah, it
which makes no sense,
should be
right?
called a screw up deal, right? Because
Yeah. They give you $1 million. They're not giving you $1 million. All of a sudden you owe them $1 million, right? So I don't like that aspect. That's why I've never really applied to any labels or anything. There are some labels I like. Don't get me wrong, and I would love to see my music there. But I don't think I have enough leverage to a point where, hey, here's my music. Let's make a good deal, and I won't get screwed.
right.
So at this point, I'm just lay back and see what happens.
Yeah. And in terms of like music success in your life, what would you consider to be music success in your life?
I think making music every day, that's a huge success because it makes me happy, no
Mhm.
matter the outcome. Like, we all want to play big shows and play many clubs. I think that's fun, but that cannot be the goal. I think the goal has to be whether it makes you happy or not. And it makes me happy. So every day I sit on my studio and I can compose something, that's success to me.
That's awesome, man. I totally agree with you, by the way, on that. Now, let's say you were going to a different planet, right? And you can only take three things with you. And we are assuming you have water and the basic stuff, right? Like,
Okay, food.
you, you can only take three things with you. What would you take with you to that new planet?
Wow. Tough question. I'll take a bunch of cake. I love cake, man.
Okay, you gotta.
I'm a cakeaholic. So you have water, you have cake, good friends, good people for sure.
Awesome.
And good music, right? You gotta listen to music.
So we are saying good cake, good friend.
Yes, so it's always a party, right? You got cake, you got friends, you got music. That's a party. So way to go.
Hey, it was a pleasure to have you here, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you have a lot of success, and we'll stay in touch because you're from Brazil, and I was born in Portugal, so we know how to speak the same language.
Yes.
And one day when I visit Toronto, Canada, I'll definitely we can go and watch you perform DJing. Anyhow, was a pleasure. How can people can connect with you? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram. Could be I am at I am Ghost is back, or they go to my website, which is ghostisback.wtf.
Awesome. You can find all the links to Ghost is Back and by putting his name in the search bar, and all the notes of this episode will pop right up. Ghost is Back. Thank you for being so generous with your time.
Well,
And
thank you so much for having me, man.
hey, man, it was a
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in and listening to the show or viewing the show on YouTube. I want you to remember that your success is really my success, and don't forget to live your dreams. Until I see you next time, take care.
Take care. Bye.